The name Billy Crystal just makes you smile, whether it calls to mind When Harry Met Sally, City Slickers, Analyze This, Monsters, Inc., or his 9 hosting gigs at the Academy Awards. The story of a 50-year career that spans TV, movies, and Broadway begins with Crystal's father, Jack, who ran a New York music store and record label and hosted concerts in a theater that now bears his name. Billy and I got together recently for a Sunday sit-down inside the Jack Crystal Theater at the NYU Tisch School of the Arts. You say you remember being 5 years old on this stage.
I couldn't help myself. When the music started, I ran up on stage and tap danced with the band as best I could. Crowd went wild.
You never forget that.
Oh, you never forget your first laugh, your first applause.
Billy Crystal's life in show business began in these halls.
And this was, Dad at the microphone, because he would MC the shows besides producing them. And there was a sign there, Jazz at the Plaza. That's my dad with W.C. Handy.
Oh, my God.
Who was the father of the blues, St. Louis Blues.
Can you tell me why this room is so significant to you and your family?
My dad produced great jazz concerts here on the weekends from 1949 until his untimely death in 1963. A lot of great things happened here. He was one of the first producers to integrate bands. I mean, it was like an amazing melting pot of talent.
The 76-year-old has been entertaining audiences ever since he hopped on that stage as a kid.
You know, I'd never moseyed before. Hope I did it correctly.
But I would be proud to partake of your pecan pie.
Have fun storming the castle.
You're not supposed to name it. Once you name it, you start getting attached to it.
Now, the man who made his name in comedy has gone dark. In the intense Apple TV Plus series Before, Crystal plays Dr. Eli Adler, a child psychiatrist caring for a troubled young boy while battling his own demons.
What are you so scared of? What happened to you?
Eli, enough.
What happened in the farmhouse?
Eli, stop!
We have to find her friend.
People will be surprised and have to reorient themselves to Billy Crystal in this series in a good way.
It's a world I never thought I would perhaps be in, but once I was in it, I loved every second of it.
You got into this character, Eli, differently than you have previous characters. By that I mean, you kind of had to stay there.
It developed a method for me, which I hadn't had to have before. At this point in my life, in my career, to find something new and so invigorating is really thrilling.
I used to think of myself as somebody who had the answers, But now I don't think I know anything anymore.
Is it one of those shows where you're in it and you have a feeling that you're onto something?
Yeah, I think so. With comedies, you never know sometimes.
Right.
Because it's, you set up the joke in September and you don't get the laugh till May. So in between, there's a lot of, is this going to work? These scenes were so intense and so well directed and performed, I think, that you had a feeling that this was really something.
Crystal grew up with 2 older brothers on the South Shore of New York's Long Island, playing baseball and making people laugh.
I'm curious when the performance or entertaining bug really bit you.
I'm at ease in only a few places, honestly. Talking to people and fielding ground balls. Otherwise, I don't know what I am. It's always been the safe place.
That's interesting because it's the exact opposite for most people.
That's where I wanted to be.
He eventually followed that love of performance to NYU, where he took a film class taught by an up-and-coming director named Martin Scorsese.
But he'd stand behind you while you're editing your film, and he would be very scary. Because he would look and he was so intense, and he was, why'd you shoot that way? Use a wide shot. You should have, Howard Hawks always used the wide shot. I said, I'm 19, I don't know who Howard Hawks is.
So he was basically what he is now.
Every time I see him, I say the same thing. Why'd you give me a C?
Did he really give you a C?
No.
Come on.
There were no grades. It was just, I think you could do better.
After graduating, Crystal married his longtime girlfriend, Janice. He worked as a substitute teacher while trying to break into the New York comedy scene and caring for the couple's first daughter.
Janice comes to me and says, the baby's 6 months old. I'm going to go back to work. You'll watch Jenny all day. I'll come home around 5, and you'll go off and you'll be the comedian I know that you can be. And that was the deal.
I think that's critically important to have somebody at your side who says, you're good at this.
No, I was Mr. Mom before it was cool.
Crystal's big break came in 1976 when the young comic was tapped to perform at the Dean Martin Celebrity Roast of Muhammad Ali.
You're still a kid at this point.
Yeah. I've never been on television before. And there's Ali, my hero. This was the man who said this war is wrong, who stood up for something and stood up for all of us. I just loved him for that.
Everybody's talking about Joe Frazier. Don't talk about Joe.
It ended, big applause. Ali grabs me and whispers in my ear, "You're my little brother." And that's what he called me for 42 years.
The next year, he landed his first starring role in the groundbreaking series Soap.
Clean hair, Carol. I'm a homosexual, not an asthmatic.
And later, a single memorable season on Saturday Night Live.
You look mad.
Crystal had made a name in comedy by the late 1980s when his friend, director Rob Reiner, insisted he could be a movie star.
Men and women can't be friends because the sex part always gets in the way.
That's not true.
35 years since When Harry Met Sally.
Yeah.
And you and Rob worked together. People knew you in comedies, they knew you from television series and some of the other movies you'd done, but this was something else. This had a life of its own.
And it still does. Suddenly you're being told you're a romantic lead. That took a lot of adjustments for me. Even to this day, 35 years later, people come up and they want to meet Harry.
I came here tonight because when you realize you want to spend the rest of your life with somebody, you want the rest of your life to start as soon as possible.
One of my granddaughters in school last year, as a senior, said, "Grandpa, you're not going to believe this. You're not going to believe this. We're watching Harry and Sally now. Could you come and talk to the class?"
Pretty cool when your grandpa drops into class and he's the star of the movie you're studying. There is much more with Billy Crystal in part 2, including the behind-the-scenes story of that famous "I'll have what she's having" scene.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't miss the Today Show every weekday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific on our streaming channel, Today All Day. To watch, head to today.com/allday or click the link right here.